Imagine this. You're standing at the edge, looking out over a vast, dark ocean. The waves are crashing around you, and everything in you is telling you to turn back, to give up, to not even try. It feels impossible. You don't know how to swim, and the water looks endless. Now imagine choosing, in that moment, to step forward anyway. You can't see the shore, but you believe it's there. The fear, the doubt, the uncertainty, they're all still there, but so is your will to keep going. That's the power of positive thinking. Of whatever it is that the storm, it's about choosing to trust that you have the strength to make it through one step at a time. Positive thinking isn't about having a perfect life or never feeling fear. It's about facing the waves with courage and the belief that you can keep going no matter how tough the journey gets. Today I want to talk about how to harness that strength, how to turn your mindset into your most powerful tool, and how to choose hope even when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Because the story you're living isn't finished yet. Positivity is a choice, not something that automatically appears when life is easy. Many people believe that if circumstances were perfect, if they had the dream job, the perfect relationship, flawless health, then staying positive would come naturally. But the truth is, life rarely lines up that neatly. Challenges will come, sometimes suddenly, sometimes all at once, and they won't ask if you're ready. In those moments, positivity isn't something that arrives to rescue you. It's something you actively decide to lean into. It's the decision to find something, anything, worth holding on to, even when the world feels like it's crumbling. Choosing positivity doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is fine when it's not. It means acknowledging the pain, the frustration, and the fear, and deciding that those emotions don't get the final say. It's about realizing that while you might not control what happens to you, you do control how you respond. And that choice, the choice to meet hardship with hope, to greet fear with courage, is a kind of power no one can take from you. It's easy to be positive when everything is smooth. The real test and the real strength lies in being positive when everything feels impossible. In the middle of adversity, positivity is a deliberate act. It's waking up and saying, I can't control everything, but I can control one thing today. It's deciding to look for solutions instead of fixating on problems. It's giving yourself permission to believe that better days are ahead, even when you can't see them yet. This isn't always a grand sweeping choice. Often it's a quiet, stubborn decision made over and over throughout the day. Sometimes it's as small as choosing to get dressed, make a phone call, or go outside and feel the sun on your face. When you understand that positivity is a choice, you reclaim your agency. You stop waiting for circumstances to be perfect before you allow yourself to feel hope or joy. You start building a life from the inside out instead of depending on the outside world to set the tone. Positivity becomes an act of rebellion against despair. It becomes a habit, a mindset, a muscle you strengthen every time you refuse to let negativity win. Over time, that choice reshapes your life, helping you find beauty even in brokenness and courage even in fear. Pain is real, and no amount of positive thinking can erase that truth. There are moments in life when the weight of what you're facing feels unbearable. Moments of loss, trauma, disappointment, or failure. To deny that pain exists would be dishonest. True positive thinking doesn't ask you to ignore your suffering. It asks you to acknowledge it fully and still believe that it can lead to something more. Growth isn't born out of pretending everything is okay. Growth is born out of walking through the fire, feeling every blister and scar, and choosing to keep moving anyway. When you experience hardship, it carves deep marks into your life. Those marks aren't weaknesses, they are evidence that you lived through something that could have broken you but didn't. Real positive thinking respects the reality of pain while refusing to let it define your entire story. It's about giving yourself permission to grieve, to hurt, to be angry or scared, while also holding space for the possibility of change. Absolutely, you don't have to pick between feeling pain and feeling hope. You can carry both at the same time. They exist together, not as enemies, but as parts parts of a greater process of becoming stronger, deeper, and more fully alive. Pain strips away the surface layers of who we think we are. It shows us what really matters. It forces us to look inward and find strength we didn't know we had. It teaches us to appreciate things we once took for granted. Every hardship, every setback, every heartbreak carries within it the seeds of wisdom and resilience, but only if we are willing to face it honestly. Positive thinking in this sense isn't about denying hardship. It's about trusting that we can transform hardship into something meaningful. There is nothing glamorous about growth. It is often messy, slow, and full of setbacks. But positive thinking allows us to see that even in our worst moments, we are not stuck forever. It reminds us that pain, while real, is not permanent. It reminds us that growth can come precisely because of the struggles we endure, not in spite of them. Facing pain with an open heart and a willing spirit is how we discover the kind of strength that doesn't just survive hard times, it rises because of them. Small wins are often overlooked, but they are the true building blocks of resilience and transformation. When facing a massive goal or a daunting recovery, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by how far you still have to go. The distance between where you are and where you want to be can seem impossible to cross. That's where small wins come in. They are the steps that remind you progress is happening, even if it's not always obvious. Celebrating small wins isn't about settling for less. It's about recognizing that every tiny step forward is part of something much bigger. In the middle of hardship or change, expecting giant leaps can set you up for frustration and burnout. If you're always waiting for the major milestones, you might miss the incredible strength it takes just to show up every day. Small wins might look like getting out of bed when every muscle aches. They might be sending one email, making one phone call, taking one breath in a moment of panic. They seem ordinary, almost too small to mention, but they matter because they create momentum. Each small victory builds your confidence, slowly but surely, teaching you that you are capable of moving forward, even if the pace is slower than you hoped. Small wins also shift your focus from everything that's still out of reach to everything you're already achieving. They change the narrative you tell yourself about your journey. Instead of thinking, I'm nowhere close to where I want to be, you start thinking, look how far I've come. This change in mindset can be the difference between giving up and pushing through. Progress, no matter how small, deserves to be acknowledged. It fuels you emotionally and mentally, giving you the energy to tackle the next challenge. There's a quiet kind of bravery in celebrating the small things. It's choosing to find hope when the finish line is still too far to see. It's finding pride in things that might seem invisible to others, but are monumental for you. Small wins accumulate, layering on top of each other, forming a foundation that feels unshakable. Over time, they lead to breakthroughs that seem sudden, but were actually built on countless unseen victories. Trusting in the power of small wins keeps you moving forward even when the path ahead feels endless. It reminds you that progress isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, and exactly enough. Your mind is your strongest muscle, and like any muscle, it needs consistent training to grow stronger. Most people invest time in building physical strength, understanding that endurance and fitness come from repeated effort. Yet when it comes to mental resilience and positivity, many assume it should come naturally without practice. The truth is, mental strength is built the same way as physical strength, through daily effort, through pushing past discomfort, and through showing up even when you don't feel like it. Positive thinking isn't something that magically appears on the hard days. It's something you've prepared for by training your mind long before you need it at most. Strengthening your mind begins with the thoughts you choose to focus on. Every day you are faced with thousands of thoughts, many of them filled with fear, doubt, or negativity. You don't have to believe every thought you think. You have the power to challenge them, to redirect them, to feed the ones that serve you instead of the ones that tear you down. It's about creating new habits inside your head, habits that lean toward courage, hope, and perseverance instead of despair and defeat. Just like lifting weights, it feels uncomfortable at first. You'll want to quit. You'll wonder if it's making any difference. But over time, you realize you are getting stronger. Mental training also means being mindful of what you consume, the conversations you engage in, the media you watch, the voices you listen to. Every input is either strengthening or weakening your mindset. Choosing carefully isn't about living in denial, it's about protecting the mental energy you need to keep moving forward. It's about realizing that you can't afford to fill your mind with things that sap your strength when you're fighting for your dreams or your recovery. There will be days when negativity feels heavier than usual, when doubt shouts louder than belief. That's when the work you've put into training your mind shows up. That's when you realize positivity isn't about being naive, it's about being disciplined. It's about building a mindset that refuses to collapse under pressure, a mindset that finds a way through fear instead of freezing because of it. The mind, just like the body, can adapt to greater challenges. Every time you choose a hopeful thought over a hopeless one, you are adding to your inner strength, preparing yourself to handle whatever life throws at you. The people you surround yourself with have a powerful influence on your mindset, your energy, and your ability to stay positive through tough times. No matter how strong you are, constant exposure to negativity can wear you down. It's not about blaming others for how you feel, but recognizing that energy is contagious. When you spend time with people who complain, criticize, or see the world through a lens of defeat, it becomes harder to hold on to your own sense of possibility. On the other hand, being around people who believe in growth, who find light even in dark moments, who lift you up instead of pulling you down, strengthens your ability to keep moving forward. Energy givers are the people who celebrate your small wins, who remind you of your worth when you forget it yourself, and who challenge you to keep striving when you feel like giving up. They are the ones who listen without judgment, but won't let you drown in self-pity. They don't pretend life is easy, but they believe that struggle can lead to strength. Being in their presence reminds you of who you want to be, especially on the days when doubt feels heavier than hope. They don't rescue you, but they walk beside you, making the journey a little lighter. Choosing who you allow into your mental space is an act of self-respect. It doesn't mean cutting everyone out the moment they have a bad day or expecting perfection from your relationships. It means being mindful of patterns. It means noticing how you feel after spending time with someone. Are you drained, defeated, or smaller somehow? Are you energized, hopeful, and more connected to your best self? Probably protecting your energy sometimes requires hard choices. It might mean setting boundaries, limiting time with certain people, or seeking out new communities that align with the kind of life you're trying to build. In moments of struggle, the voices around you can either echo your fears or echo your strength. They can feed your doubts or fuel your dreams. Surrounding yourself with energy givers ensures that even when your own positivity wavers, you have people who help you find it again. They become a living reminder that you are not alone, that hope is real, and that together the hard days are survivable. Your environment doesn't determine your destiny, but it shapes your path, and choosing it wisely is one of the most powerful things you can do for your future. Your story isn't over yet. No matter how final a setback might feel, life has a way of convincing you in your hardest moments that this is it, that you are stuck, broken, or too far gone to create anything better. But what feels like an ending is often just a brutal mess. Positive thinking keeps the door open to the possibility that the next chapter can be different, even extraordinary. It doesn't erase what you've been through. It honors it while still making space for what's ahead. When you believe your story is unfinished, you give yourself permission to hope, to change, and to try again. It's easy to define yourself by your worst moments, the failure that humiliated you, the loss that shattered you, the mistake you can't forget. They can wrap themselves around your identity if you let them, but positive thinking challenges that narrative. It reminds you that one bad chapter doesn't define the whole book. It reminds you that pain, while real and valid, is not the conclusion of your life story. Even if today is heavy, even if tomorrow feels uncertain, believing that your journey is still unfolding gives you the courage to take another step even when you're terrified. Sometimes progress is invisible. Sometimes you are healing, growing, or learning in ways you can't see yet. Positive thinking trusts in that unseen work. It believes that even if it takes a long time, even if the process feels excruciating, something good can still grow out of hardship. This mindset isn't about being blindly optimistic. It's about refusing to accept that struggle is the final word. It's about holding on, and even when everything inside you wants to let go. Every person who has ever built a life they're proud of has had moments where they wanted to quit. The difference is that they understood their story wasn't finished. They kept turning the page, even when they had no idea what was coming next. Positive thinking doesn't guarantee that every chapter will be easy, but it ensures that you keep showing up for the possibility of better days. It keeps you open to healing, to rebuilding, to finding new dreams when old ones fall apart. No matter how many times you fall, as long as you believe your story isn't over, there is always a way forward. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Positive thinking isn't some magical fix to erase all the difficulties we face. It's about showing up every day, no matter how hard it gets, and believing that each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory in itself. It's about choosing to keep going even when the road is unclear, and trusting that there's always room for growth, change, and healing. Your mind is your strongest muscle, and like any muscle, it gets stronger with practice. Every time you face a challenge with positivity, you're building your resilience. Every time you choose hope, you're strengthening the foundation for better days ahead. And remember, your story isn't over yet. No matter where you are right now, the next chapter could be your breakthrough. So the next time life feels overwhelming, take a deep breath, acknowledge the pain, and then take that first step forward. Choose positivity, choose strength, because the power to change your life is in your hands, and it starts with how you choose to think. Keep believing, keep moving, and keep living, because your best days are still ahead of you. Thank you.